I'm making a video on the rally. Is there any chance I get a quick interview with you guys? Do you mind if I just get closer? Because I can only do one at a time. So I see you have a sign over here. It says, "Solidarity with undocumented immigrants, close the concentration camps, stop the raids, reunite the families, abolish ICE." Can you tell me a little bit more about...
Others say...
And impeach the MFer.
With Jewish Defense League, which is like a conservative Zionist group. So
I'm with
just
who?
so you're aware.
Oh, okay.
I'm not with...
a right-wing guy. He's going to try and make you look bad. So I would recommend you don't talk to him.
Oh, thank you for
All
the
right,
information.
he's going to cut it up so you look like a ridiculous.
do you-
Please don't talk to him.
Who are you
No,
from?
so here, I have a YouTube channel.
Don't
Have
engage with him. Don't talk to him. Don't look at him. Don't engage with him.
So, in full defense, I don't cut
whatever
up...
you want, but that's what we recommend. Yeah.
Have you guys seen my videos where I cut them up like you say I have? Because I haven't done that.
Well, I will take, not knowing you, I'll take their advice and end the interview.
We're out here today in New York City. I see you have a flyer talking about no tech for ICE. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here, what's going on?
Well, we're gathering today to rally against the concentration camps in the border and the corporate profits made off of them. And the software underlying ICE happens to be Salesforce and Amazon.
Sorry, I wouldn't talk to them because they're going to take whatever you say and try to...
That's...
Donald Trump! Donald Trump! You see that?
Just keep walking now.
Fucking crybaby! Call him back, piece of shit!
Behind you, there's an Abolish ICE protest where they don't want ICE to work with tech. Across the street is Salesforce. Can you tell me a little bit more about what do you think's going on and how you feel about
Well,
it?
I'm very good about the anti-ICE because nobody wants to see, like, I don't know, look, I'm sure Obama was locking families up, but was he separating the kids from the parents? That's the question,
I
right?
wouldn't talk to them, honestly.
Why? Who are they?
They're nobody important.
I'm looking independent.
That's what he
But are
says.
they working for Trump? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not
Yeah.
working for Trump. Whoa, that's a complete lie, but...
Do you think
He's
they are?
basically a YouTuber.
You could look up my YouTube channel, but
Who's a
it's
very
very
big
disingenuous for
fan.
these guys
Well,
to lie
I'm
about
just
me.
telling my hate Trump, so that if that's the, you know, I mean, I think...
Do you think it's good that we have people coming up trying to stifle interviews from going down like that?
Not necessarily, but I don't know what you're about. He does make a good point. I don't know what you're about. And since you're not wearing the red hat, you could hypothetically
Well, I
be
mean,
a Trumper. Not that I'm saying you are a Trumper.
Well, if I was a Trumper, should you not talk to people
No,
who are
I
Trump
should
supporters?
talk to Trumpers, but I was talking to a woman at the as they were all lining up for a big one, and all of a sudden I realized she said, "Oh no," and she started saying really pro things about Trump. I said, "Wait a second, you're with Trump?" And she's like, "I hate the liberals and what they're doing to America." And I was like, "Oh, here we go
Well,
again."
not all Trump supporters are like that. And again, around half the
But
country
you know how
voted
many-
for Trump, so you can't not have a conversation
half
with
the country. More like with the Electoral College, it worked out very well for, but not half the country.
at least 100 million. What was it? At least 50 million people voted for Trump. I forget
and
the
then
top of my
whatever
head.
there was, 53 voted for the woman that wasn't a very good candidate either.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nonetheless,
But here, that's what I'm saying. Like
I could,
that trying to
I could
interrupt.
spend
is-
for hours telling you why I don't like Trump, and as a New Yorker, you see, would love. People are so stupid they don't realize that that is a verb.
Trump's.
Love trumps hate. Trump is a verb, not Donald Trump, but the verb trumps hate. So you know that's a kind of thing. We have a lot of people in this country that can't even read that button and understand the meaning
I
behind
want to
it.
follow up what you said, what you talked about earlier. You said that Obama wasn't locking kids in
No, I didn't
cages.
say that. I said he might be locking up the whole families. I don't know if he was ripping the children apart from the parents. I'm sure he was doing the same thing at the border. I'm not trying to say he was all great. In fact, he disappointed me. But once again, not one single Republican crossed and ever voted for him. They wanted to make him one-term president. He did not, no matter how good an idea he came up, he never got not one single Republican was ever brave enough to cross over. So we're so split at this point. There's like, even if he said, I want to help retarded, oh, sorry, we can't vote for you. I don't want to help retarded kids because you're a Democrat. It really has gotten pathetic, our politics, okay?
I want to follow up there because this is specifically on immigration,
Yeah.
and it's clear that I think one thing we could all agree on is there's a crisis at the border,
Yes,
right?
there is.
There's a
There
crisis
is.
there. What should we do to help quell the crisis there? What should the solution now be?
Well, I don't think a person have to wait 8 years to get in, because if you make a person wait 8 years to get in, they're going to cross the Rio Grande and try to get in. Nobody has 8 years, and I don't see how you can expedite it to like 4 or 5 months if you have a line that long. So I don't know. And how could I know? Does Jared know how to solve the problems in the Middle East?
Well, we could try, but here's because the question becomes like, if we're going to abolish ICE, there needs to be somebody else who tries to remove potentially illegal immigrants in the country, unless you don't want to do that at all. And then should there be people, should we protect our border at
See,
all?
here's the thing. In New York City, we need, I don't know about other parts of the country, but we need these immigrants so badly They're picking tomatoes for 2 cents, okay? They're on their knees picking
Isn't
tomatoes
that
for
bad,
2 cents.
though?
It is bad. It sucks because, but otherwise tomatoes would be $7. If you had Americans picking them, union Americans picking them, it would be $7 to eat a tomato. So we need them. In New York City, nobody wants to deliver Chinese food, and yet the I don't want to say Mexicans because they're Latinos, but who do you see delivering Chinese food? Who do you
Typically
see?
minorities.
Who do you see washing the dishes? Who do you see doing the demolition? They might build like the carpenters might be Polish, the concrete guys might be Italian, but the guys tearing down the first building are mostly Latinos at like $8-10 an hour.
Well, let's say we had a lack of that low-cost labor. Couldn't it increase wages for native New Yorkers then? Because if there's it's a
Hypothetically,
demand
if somebody
thing.
wanted to pay somebody $20 an hour to do demo, of course, normal New Yorkers might line up for a $20 an hour job, but not $8 or $9 for a dangerous job.
But if we didn't have those low-skill laborers, if we had less low-skill laborers, it would naturally increase the amount that we have to pay for them. Like basic supply and demand. The more cheap labor, it suppresses wages. So that's where I wanted to follow up then. Do you think there's unintended consequences of not protecting the border or having tons of...
Well, I mean, if you consider that Trump himself keeps on saying, I thought I did the paperwork, and the people at Mar-a-Lago turn out not even have paperwork, right? So he likes to get cheap labor too. No matter how much
definitely stop businesses from hiring undocumented
right.
immigrants.
No matter who you talk to, everybody wants cheap labor.
Yeah.
And I have to admit that everybody does. I have no money.
That
so I'm not like
doesn't help people like me and you, right? Of course, big businesses want low-skill labor, but I don't think people like me and you want more low-skill laborers because that only harms us and minority communities who need that money.
Hypothetically, in New York City, you're right. In New York City, when an apartment's $3,000. Where do these people? I think there are like 10 of them in a room out in Queens. I don't know how and where they live, or are they being shipped in from Yonkers? And I mean, how do you?
We want to bring more people now to New York, which is a city that doesn't persecute undocumented immigrants here in any way.
I don't necessarily. I have to.
It's a sanctuary city.
Yeah,
here.
I do like sanctuary cities because I don't want them all being plucked, and I don't want them all being plucked. They're working hard. I understand.
But is it harming the native New Yorkers that we're letting in?
No, it's not harming us at all. Because like I said, we are benefiting from it. That doesn't mean some of your points aren't correct, but we are benefiting from cheap labor. As I said, I don't want to pay.
Big business is benefiting from cheap
but
labor.
I don't want to pay $7 for a tomato. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know exactly what your agenda is.
Did you think any of my questions were unfair, though?
They're reasonable. They're reasonable. They're not really leading. But at the same time, like I said, I don't want a $7 tomato or $10 avocado, nor do you. So it gets very tricky. It's a tricky thing. There isn't a simple solution. Otherwise, someone who would have come up with it.
Well, here's the question: we should protect our borders? Is the right? If we don't protect our borders, then we can't control the flow of migrants.
Yeah,
and
but
all that not to mention, the United States takes in more immigrants than any other country. We take over 1 million legal immigrants a year already. So, on top of that,
right. But at the same time, the Canadian border, you can walk right in. So with all this focus,
I want to protect that border too.
Well, but you can't at this point. And so I'm saying if a really very slick guy from ISIS or Al Qaeda wanted to come in this country, he's most likely coming up through Montreal and in that way. Okay. If you were going to try to do something, right? So
I feel like
therefore you already have an open border that we're not even worrying about.
Isn't that a reason to protect the northern border as well, though?
Yeah, but we just don't have the funds for it. We don't have the manpower. How many Canadian Mounties can you get on their horses, ready to you can't. You're asking very difficult questions for someone like me to answer because even the guys who are professionals and are supposed to solve the problems can't solve the problems. So how could I come up with an idea? I'm just saying I see in New York City the cheap labor helping us.